So very conveniently, they already got these in place, and they just needed an excuse to push for installing more of them. Now we have this article from January 7, written by Steve Watson at Prison Planet, Breaking the Will of the People, the Real Purpose of Body Scanners. The clamor to ramp up airport security with invasive naked body imaging scanners has nothing to do with ensuring the safety of travelers. Rather, it is part of an ongoing incremental push to break the will of the people and encourage mass subservience and meek obedience. Perhaps the most alarming aspect of the body scanner push is that people are willingly accepting it. As Bloomberg News reports today, passenger acceptance of airport body scanners has increased following the failed terrorist attack, with 92% of passengers at Manchester Airport in northern England now agreeing to pass through the machines in a voluntary trial, compared with 75% before the incident. The will of the people is being systematically eroded and incrementally broken down. Airports are serving as reservations where the fundamental right to privacy must be left at the door. Travelers have been acclimatized over time to know they must remove their shoes, take off their belts, untuck shirts, discard water, baby milk, shampoo, and toothpaste. During the flight, hands must be visible on laps, and even bathroom visits can now become national incidents, as we have seen recently. A culture of extreme fear has been engendered where the only way to stay safe is to cozy up to Big Brother, a psychological response akin to that of Stockholm Syndrome. This is where the technological control grid plays such a key role. Imagine if TSA agents were made to take women and children and physically strip search them while they held their hands aloft. The public would balk at such an abuse. However, with the body scanning machines, there is a divide that clouds the process in futuristic technology. Note that in many of the images from the body scanners used by the media, people are shown to be concealing a gun or a knife, with their hands held in the air above their heads. This puts out the subconscious notion that everybody passing through the machines is guilty and has been caught by the authorities engaging in a law-breaking act. We are also being incrementally taught that what goes on in the airports will be transferred to the streets, schools, shopping malls, rail stations, and bus terminals. The very body scanners we see being implemented within airports now have already been extensively trialed in railway stations in major cities. The same technology is being considered by governments for general use in cameras on the street. Once accepted as part of everyday life in airports, it becomes much easier to sell for use in all public places. If the public willingly accepts naked imaging X-ray machines in the name of security, what comes next? The former EU Justice Commissioner says that scanning inside people's bodies is an acceptable proposal. Microsoft has suggested slapping monitoring bracelets on all of its employees. The TSA is considering taser bracelets that can deliver electric shocks to anyone who steps out of line inside an airport or on a plane. Passport control officers at airports are to be phased out as new biometric face scanning cameras are set up to replace them under UK border control measures that came into force last year. A global biometric facial scan database is the end goal of security authorities the world over. Other proposals include placing the cameras in every seat on an aircraft and installing software to try and automatically detect terrorists or other dangers caused by passengers. Passive brain scanners that pick up brainwaves in order to sense the behavior of travelers have already been trialed in airports. The technology known as malintent has been developed by the Department of Homeland Security under a project lovingly called Project Hostile Intent. Now, when I read these articles, I read abridged versions of them because, they're very long and I don't want to, sound repetitive. So you can find the article yourself and read the entire thing. Now, the article also goes into the health effects of these scanners. When you're bombarding people with X-rays, it's never good, even if it's just once. So definitely check that out. But, a lot of the mainstream media is trying to spin this and saying that walking through these body scanners, you don't really see the naked image. It's not like a virtual strip search. But the truth is, yes, it is. If you take these images, when you look at them, they look like a photo negative. So that puts up like the article says, that film of technology between it. So it separates you psychologically from the idea that somebody's looking at you or your wife or your children naked on a little monitor. But if you take a software like Photoshop, or even a free one like InfraView, like I use for the web page, you can download it for free off the net. You can make a photo negative of the picture you're using or that you're manipulating, right? So if you take one of these images from these body scanners, which is basically like a photo negative, and you invert it, you can see the full naked body in living flesh with all the detail. And I'm going to put an example up on the screen. So you get the point from that. So absolutely you can see a person's naked body. A conspiracy aside, but even if you believe the official story, the government still failed us. Even after the last decade of the security grid going into place and the loss of rights in this country that we had to give up in the name of security, they were still unable to stop this 20-something-year-old guy from getting on the plane and trying to do this. The only thing that saved the plane was the public stopping him, wrestling him to the ground. So what we have in this case is we have the government picking a fight with Yemen, killing innocent civilians to maybe get one or two guys here and there who have ended up getting away in these strikes. They retaliate, or a representative of them retaliates. The public stops them. And so what does the government do? It punishes the public. It wants you to walk through these body scanners. It wants your wife to walk through these body scanners, your girlfriend, your sons, your daughters. And who do you think is going to be attracted to these jobs that are going to be created, that'll be able to view this material? What kind of individuals? Think about that. Now, are you really ready to give up your privacy for this phony sense of security that the government, even with all of its big brother, technological grid changes over the past decade has put in, was still unable to stop this? This one from The Independent in the UK. Defiant Yemen government tells U.S. soldiers to keep out. This was written on January the 8th. Yemen insisted yesterday that it could handle its own mounting security challenges without any direct foreign intervention, pointedly warning Washington to learn the lessons from Iraq and Afghanistan. While welcoming U.S. intelligence and technological cooperation, the Deputy Prime Minister for Defense and Security, Rashid Alami, told a crowded news conference in the capital, Sana'a, that the government did not want foreign troops on its soil. That message was reinforced by Foreign Minister Abubakar al-Kirbi, who told CNN that fighting militants was the priority and the responsibility of our security forces in the Army. On the possibility of direct U.S. military intervention, he said, "No, I don't think we will accept that. I think the U.S. as well have learned from Afghanistan and Iraq and other places that direct intervention can be self-defeating." And I skipped down and it says here, Mir al-Alami was keen to stress that the Nigerian student, this is the one on the Detroit plane, had been recruited by Al-Qaeda while he was in Britain. Abdul Muttalib is known to have studied engineering at University College London before his second visit to Yemen in 2009. The information provided to us is that Umar Farouk joined Al-Qaeda in London, the Yemeni minister said. Other war news, we have this from antiwar.com, written by Jason Ditz on January 6th. U.S. allies with Baathists in Yemen. Saddam spies now working with us. Hardly a bombing goes by in Iraq that the Iraqi government and American forces don't blame on the remnants of the Ba'athist regime overthrown in the 2003 invasion. It is constantly alleged that the Baathists are secretly in league with Al-Qaeda, though evidence for this is always lacking. But now some of Saddam Hussein's top spies, having fled to Yemen when America invaded, have found a new and unlikely ally in the United States, which is recruiting them into a rival spy agency within the Yemeni government, created specifically to tackle Al-Qaeda. The Ba'athist spy agency was created at the behest of the U.S., but it likely didn't take much